Hello and welcome. The thumbnail of the YouTube video, Kevin versus Warren Buffett, is for fun. The idea behind that picture is to see if Kevin can achieve Warren Buffett status by the time Kevin reaches his age. The image used was taken from the Brandon Beavis investing channel. I will link his video below to give him credit for this. I think he makes great videos and hopes his channel grows. I am Kevin's business partner, and I know that there's an older video that tells the story of how he would become a millionaire at the age of 30, released on July 7th, 2017. This was a time when the Aurora stock price was only around $2. But apparently Kevin thinks that this is important, the story be told again with proper English. Stephan's replied to Kevin how he became a millionaire from real estate by the age of 26 on his channel chat inspired Kevin to write up this script. Kevin hopes that this video will do well and is going to put a lot of effort into making this video. Kevin is 30 and currently has at least $2 million Canadian. He could lose it all, but at the end of the day, he truly believes he won't, and over time it will grow. Theoretically speaking, using a compound calculator, if he can manage a 50% growth per year every year off of his $2 million, this will net him somewhere in the range of $100 million in 10 years. Even if he is to average only 20% earnings from his $2 million, he would have somewhere in the range of $12 million in the next 10 years. He is still young and is still currently looking for ways to earn more money. So I'm going to start from the very beginning. Kevin was born in Vietnam. It's the country south of China. When he was 1 year old, his dad escaped from Vietnam due to the abuse from communists and because he wanted a better life for his family. He set sail to the Philippines, then to Canada. When he was 4 years old, his dad sponsored his mom and him over to Canada. At first, his family lived under one house with a bunch of relatives. After a year, he moved to his dad's friend's house basement. His family eventually moved into their first duplex home. He started school at kindergarten at Calder Elementary School. He was not a very bright kid, so it took him a long time for him to speak broken English. He even had a specialist for his entire time in elementary. In elementary school, he was bullied a lot by other kids because he had a big square head and broken English. His junior high school was Wellington. It was a school with a lot of bad kids who smoked, drank, and did drugs that he did not partake in. Since he was desperate for friends and attention, he ended up hanging out with a bad crowd and smoked his first joint at 12 years old. He was still bullied in junior high and ended up in a lot of fights, but lost them all. His school grades in junior high was mediocre like it was in elementary. In high school, he met some friends who are still his friends till this day. High school gave kids too much freedom, so he ended up skipping a lot of classes in grade 10 and ended up failing every class except math, which he passed with a measly 50%. During grade 11 and 12, he was working and had to catch up with school, so he could graduate high school. He got his first car in grade 12, which took him 2 years to save up for. He somehow managed to graduate high school and got his diploma. He started post-secondary at NAIT at the age of 19. He wanted a good, high-paying job, so he took mechanics. He utterly failed the program. His teacher over at NAIT told him that he was not capable of being a mechanic, so he tried his hand at being an engineer technologist. He had someone help him, and half the time he was copying from them. He failed that program too. He then decided he wanted to own his own house, so he moved back in with his parents' place to rent from them, saving himself a lot of money in the process. He was waiting for the right timing for the markets to start investing into the house. At the age of 22, with only $4,000 in the bank, he started working at Superstore, averaging 32 hours a week, saving up to $30,000. At the age of 24, he managed to land a full-time position at Manitou Transport. In 2012, there was news of Blizzard planning to release Diablo 3 to the public. He was a huge fan of Blizzard games, so he had gotten real excited about that. Blizzard also planned to release a real money auction house for Diablo 3. He knew that Blizzard was going to make a ton of money with their game coming out, so he had the idea of investing into this company. Activision Blizzard was the very first company he ever invested into. During that time, he dropped the idea of buying a house and saw the stock market as a way to get rich quick. So he threw all his money he had into Activision Blizzard, and his first year sucked. He bought the stock when it was $13 and the company dropped down to $11. At the first time, he didn't quite understand why the stock fell. He thought that within 4 to 5 years the stock would be as high as $40 and within a decade reach as high as $100. A year went by and the stock hit $14. He sold half his stocks because he had doubts and was feeling emotional. Luckily, it kept going up to $20 and he sold the rest of his stocks. Making a profit of $8,000 on his very first investment felt good. He started to experiment with the money he had and diversified. He doesn't really remember what else he bought into back then, but he was buying dividend stocks and oil companies like Suncor stock. One day he was watching a PlayStation press conference and they announced the coming of the PlayStation 4. He was wondering at the time who manufactures the hardware for the PS4, and after some digging around he discovered that AMD was manufacturing PlayStation components. He looked up the stock for AMD and saw that it was trading at $277. He got excited, boarded the ship for AMD. He became obsessed and did a lot of research on the company. He gambled on the possibility that Microsoft will use AMD hardware because they use it in their Xbox 360. So he took a leap and poured all his money into AMD. He ended up being right and the stock took off, and he basically doubled his money. He thought that AMD was going to recover, held on to the stocks and bought even more. If you want to hear more about this story, please check my video called AMD Stock Story. Around December 14, 2016, his friend told him that he heard on the news that there was a company called Aurora Cannabis building a 800,000 square feet greenhouse by the Edmonton International Airport, and that Justin Trudeau had wanted to legalize cannabis. After some research, he thought to himself, this company in 2 to 3 years will make him a multimillionaire, and it turns out he was correct. The time to make really good money off of Aurora stock is gone unless it drops back down to the $3 to $5 range. If you bought it at $8, it would require $16 to double your money. Since Kevin bought into Aurora stock at an average price of $2.30, every time it goes up $2.30, his money increases in increments of 100%, which is a lot. Kevin doesn't recommend buying Canopy, Aurora, or Fira at these prices because it's very hard to make money unless you are swing trading. Kevin is taking a huge risk holding on to these stocks long term, as it may drop back down to $3 to $5 again. But he doesn't think that the current cannabis markets will give people the opportunity to make a lot of money unless the market crashes. If the market actually crashes, then maybe everything will go on sale and there will be choices everywhere. Thanks for watching this long video. I hope you enjoyed it, and this will inspire you to attempt to get rich. Please subscribe for future updates. Give me a thumbs up if you like this video, give me a thumbs down if you dislike this video, and have a great day.